Hello, friends. We've got a good one coming up for you shortly because it's now time to hear from Anca on biohacking strategies for prevent professionals on the go, which, let's face it, many of us are. We know that the hustle is real, but what if you could biohack your way to more energy and resilience? Well, you're in luck. Anca is here to share her actionable tips that you can start using today. I'm really excited about this one. Anca, welcome to the stage.
Well, thank you so much, Chloe, for having me. Super excited to be here and share some of those tips and tricks. And with that, I want to share my screen. Okay, everybody seeing the slides? You can drop in the chat. I take it as yes. And we're going to get started. Actually, I'm going to get started with a question. How many of you feel like your life is basically running on caffeine, dry shampoo, and sheer willpower when you're on site? Yeah, the same. That's why we're talking about biohacking, because at this rate, our bodies are about to send us an out of office auto reply if we don't do something about it. Quick introduction. I am Anca Trifan, host of the Events Simplified podcast and founder of Fit Mindful Mavens, among some of the other things that I do, such as strategic partnerships in the technology and AI space for MAIW. If you're curious about some of the other things and accomplishments that I've done, you can just glance over that slide and that will give you a bit of an insight, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn for more. What I'm going to tell you today is I'm not asking you to make some kind of a drastic lifestyle, become a bodybuilder just to see results. Even small sustainable adjustments can have a profound impact on how you feel and perform in your daily lives and your demanding career. But since I'm not a doctor, nor a medical professional, and all the information provided here is basically based on personal experience and advanced knowledge about nutrition and fitness, here's your disclaimer. Feel free to read it if you want to. So what is biohacking? Biohacking sounds fancy, but let's be real. It's just tweaking small things so we don't feel like human dumpster fires by 3 p.m. Think of it as finding cheat codes for your body, except no one's asking you to sleep in some kind of a hyperbaric chamber or drink butter coffee unless, well, that's your thing. Now, this is particularly for you ladies that are tuning in. Did you know that you have two clocks? Yeah, that was an aha moment for me. One is our circadian rhythm, your 24-hour cycle, just like men. And the other one is our infradian rhythm, the 28-day cycle, like an emotional roller coaster kind of clock. Men have it easy. They just wake up and go. Women wake up and have to ask themselves, what version of me is showing up today? Now, while this is all great and all, I'm going to have to make a disclaimer. Even if you're in perimenopause or postmenopause, tracking your energy, your mood, and your sleep can help you adjust your biohacking routine to match how your body feels, because biohacking is all about knowing your body. Okay, so what I want you to take away from this is slack during the menstrual and luteal phases and work really hard to catch up during the follicular and ovulatory phases. Simple as that. Here are some tracking tools. If you're a data nerd like me, you can use any of those to track your energy levels as well as your cycle. Now, let's dive into optimized sleep, which, by the way, if you are listening to the Return on Wellness, it just put out a brand new episode on this topic alone. And if you really want to get your sleep to the next level, make sure that you listen to that. One thing that I want you to understand is that optimized sleep is the ultimate hack for recovery. Not only does it provide you with brain power because sleep clears out brain waste and locks in memories, but lack of sleep on the flip side is like your brain running on Windows 95, and who wants to do that? It also helps with stress reset. Poor sleep increases stress, while high stress disrupts sleep. So this is kind of like this vicious cycle that is very, very hard to get out of. It's great for muscle gains. That was something that I needed to learn the hard way. You don't build muscle in the gym as much as you try to. You really build it in your sleep. Imagine that. And obviously, emotional recovery. REM sleep helps process stress. No REM, you're still mad at the Wi-Fi for buffering at your last event when you're traveling, because we all know, especially when you go in between time zones, that can really, really impact your number of Z's that you get, especially the first night. So in order to help that process, get outside as soon as you land to reset your internal clock. Bonus point, free vitamin D. The temperature minimum hack, this is that controls your sleep cycle by adjusting light exposure before and after your natural wake up time. Fasting, some people are very much into this because it helps their body adjust faster to a new time zone, especially if you're traveling from many time zones away. It's kind of like hitting that reset button. And then for me, what works the best is really morning activity, being able to get a workout, which jump starts my cortisol, and then it sets energy levels for the day. And then if you're really into the woo-woo kind of stuff, you can ground, stand barefoot on the earth for 20 minutes. Sounds weird, but there's some questionable science behind it. I'll let you dive into that on your own time. I also like to check my sleep metrics like a hawk every morning. This is kind of like my hidden addiction that now you know about. Apps like the Pillow Sleep Tracker can help track your sleep and your temperature in order to find your temperature minimum, which is typically 2 to 3 hours before waking up, which then you can use it to time light expose and sleep by shifting your body's time clock. It's what basically increases your temperature to advance your clock or decrease your temperature minimum to delay it. Now, let's talk about nutrition, because this is another important one. Eating at events is a sport. We live on coffee, snacks from the staff stash, and whatever's left from the VIP buffet. I get it. But you can still biohack it by packing high protein snacks, magnesium, and hydrating well. This is your, as I call it, the don't be a gremlin kit. Estimated portion sizes are great for tracking macros, especially if you're tracking just protein, and especially if you don't carry a food scale like me, because you're not a weirdo, and that's okay. Now, food is fuel, not a reward, and it's something that many people have an issue with that. It's not a treat. It's not something you earn. Just like you wouldn't put cheap gas in a high performance car, you shouldn't treat your body like a rental running on fumes. For event professionals on the go, proper fueling is non-negotiable. Whether you're on your feet for 15 hours event days, you're prepping for a big show, or grinding through long hours and meetings, strategic nutrition keeps you sharp, focused, and resilient, and energy crashes are really not an option. So how much protein should one eat? Well, enough to keep you energized, strong, and ready to tackle those long event days. For event professionals on the go, protein is key for sustained energy, muscle recovery, and focus, not just for bodybuilders, because it really helps you from crashing mid-show, and it helps you bounce back faster after those long hours on your feet. A simple protein intake formula that I like to share is aim for 0.5 to 0.75 grams per pound of body weight. And if you're really ambitious, you can go all the way to 1.25 per body weight. Plant-based, animal-based, it all works. It doesn't matter. And then for a quick portion size guide, if you don't have a scale, basically your palm size should be your protein. And then carbs, it's a fist size, and then fats, this much. Another biohacking strategy is the circadian meal timing. 1 hour post waking up, your first bite of food, 2 to 3 hours before bed, your last bite of food. I'll be honest with you, this doesn't work for me. I cannot go hungry to sleep. So I gotta have my last bite of food a little closer to my sleep time. Some meal timing macro tracking apps, that's huge for me. Here's some helpful ones for you if you are into that kind of stuff and if you're tracking. Drinking and tracking your water, and also helping people and the planet all at once. That sounds like a fantastic deal to me. And there's some tracking waters out there and programs that not only help you drink more water, but helps actually track environmental footprint and unlock donations. So pick one of those. You've heard probably about Philly Forward. I actually gave it to my kids too, not just to myself. And it's a great initiative. Now, when it comes to stress management, my secret sauce really is calendar blocking for like 5 to 10 minutes of breathe and reset. That's what I call it, breathe and reset, before and after every meeting, every single day. And because it's in my calendar, I've got to do it. That's also where the 5 minute mindful moments on the Return on Wellness YouTube channel comes handy, or maybe the Calm app, box breathing for when you've got to meet with your boss or a difficult client. And if nothing works, well, guess what? Cold water splash, instant stress relief, and maybe an easy way to scare your coworkers in the bathroom. A few guided apps are there, as I mentioned, Calm and Headspace. Try them out. Or Novo Being, that was interesting. Movement that fits my schedule is my favorite type of exercise when I travel. I mean, we do about 20,000 steps or more at events, but somehow I personally still feel like I need to work out after, But here's the hack. Every time you squat to pick up a pen, a box, you lift something heavy. Congratulations, that's strength training. But for real, 5 minute bursts of movement like squats or lunges between meetings or sessions will keep you from feeling like an overheated potato by 6 p.m. Here's some body weight exercises. Pick your poison. Low intensity exercise like walking can do more for your health and longevity than most assume. And this is some study that was done recently. Thank you, Arnold's Pump, for the research. But sometimes slow and steady isn't enough. And this new study suggests that if you want a healthier brain, your best bet is to push your body with higher intensity a few times per week. They found that higher intensity aerobic exercise is more effective at boosting neuroprotective myokines, which are the proteins released by your muscles that can influence brain health, than low intensity exercise. So after much research, they analyzed the impact of different intensities of aerobic exercise on the release of those myokines. And what they realized is that a higher intensity would really not only make you sweat, but also get you smarter. So something to keep in mind next time you're trying to push yourself harder and you're afraid to do so. It could boost your brain's neuroprotective myokines. All right, here's one thing. The amount of problems that eating enough protein, lifting some heavy ass weights, and going for a walk can solve is crazy, okay? And that is what fitness is all about. It's not about where you start, it's about where you can go if you just shut up that little voice in your head that tells you to quit when a lunge is too hard or a push-up is too much. By the way, we're still gonna do the push-up competition at IMAX in the fall. So for me, staying active, lifting, even when traveling is key, not only to managing stress and maintaining my energy levels, but also to keeping me sane. It's not a magic pill, but it's pretty close. I pre-program all my workout when I travel, and that is basically what you would see here. On-the-go wellness kits help you keep accountable. So like if you pack it in your bag, maybe you actually do something with it. Wearable technology is a lifesaver, especially if you like to track things like I do. So to wrap it all up, because probably we're coming to time here, biohacking doesn't mean overhauling your life. It just means pick one thing to try today, because taking care of the one body that you have got is not optional. It's a requirement if you like to be around long enough to see if AI will take over our lives. Just kidding, because that would be a topic for another time. And if you want to get the slides and a bunch of other resources that I have for you, feel free to follow Feed Mindful Mavens on LinkedIn, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well if you have a bunch of questions. I'll be meal prepping before I hit the gym for a strength training and some hot yoga afterwards. So that being said, I hope they give you enough to start doing one thing, if anything, from everything that I shared today. And if you'd like I said, the slides, this is the way to get it. Either scan the QR code or we have a link in the chat. And with that, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Anca. That was awesome. We have to head to the next session, but thank you so much. Can't wait to watch the record and take all the notes again, but you also are hilarious and one of my favorite people to follow on LinkedIn. So if you haven't followed Anca yet, be sure you go to her LinkedIn. She's up to so many cool, wonderful things, such an inspiration. And really, the biohacking is really important for our profession specifically because of the stress event planning has on our body. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Have a good day. Cheers.